Tonight's episode of Mean Tweets is brought to you by Alligator Alcatraz Magnets. Alligator Alcatraz. Still not that summer camp you were expecting. And along with the magnets, if the magnets aren't really your thing, then you can shop for Alligator Alcatraz stickers, which look a lot like the magnets. And
just like them, remarkably.
You can also show your support for Alligator Alcatraz by the Alligator Alcatraz t-shirt. All three of these items are available on basedcomic.com/store. basedcomic.com/store. But this is the first night we've been debuting our magnets, and so we're really excited about those. Those are really cool. We haven't actually tested those on cars yet, have we, Taylor?
No, not yet.
We'll have to. We really should try and test that. By the way, you heard that they're trying to shut that Alligator Alcatraz down.
I did hear there was a judge that ordered DeSantis to close it down, and I also heard that he said, I'm going to ignore that.
Yeah, I heard him say, this is the judge we were expecting to hear from.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of like, yawn, heard it, moving on. Yeah, I mean, a lot of that stuff, the airfield and all that, was already there. They're acting like he built it all.
Yeah.
And he didn't. But there's plenty of other places that they can send these people to, but nothing quite beats Alligator Alcatraz. And make sure you support Alligator Alcatraz with your purchases of magnets, t-shirts, and stickers at thebasecomic.com/store. All right, now on with the show. Promo off. I am Chance the Gator, and that is the lovely Taylor.
Ooh.
And this is that episode that you look forward to that recaps all the good, the bad, the ugly, and the frankly stupid that occurred in social media in the week prior.
Well, it was a little bit quieter this week.
It did seem a little quieter this week. We had one really big story on the old Cracker Barrel.
Yeah, it's all Cracker Barrel for days and days.
I'm telling you, man, people don't walk in front of people in their hash brown casserole.
That's right.
That's death right there. But yeah, it's kind of nice to have a little bit quieter week leading up to our little hiatus that we'll be talking about later. But we're excited for this show right here. To start with, we want to talk a little bit about ourselves because, you know,
it's our favorite subject, right?
It really is, especially for me. But we had this last week, you know, for those of you who are familiar with our Substack, and for those of you who are not familiar with our Substack, shame on you. We found out about this Rising in Comics. Taylor, do you want to tell me what this kind of means? Because a lot of this is
actually. As I know exactly what happened here. It was kind of cool. So we've been forever wanting to be able to have guests on our program, and we did our first experiments right now with audio only, doing it with Ed McRae, who's an animation researcher and historian, and he's absolutely fantastic to talk to. So we did an episode with him that was for our paid subscribers, and it got quite a few people using their free option to open it up and be able to see what that was all about. So the Substack puts out two lists. So one tab is the top in comics, and the other one is Rising. What Rising means is who in the comics category of their Substack is getting new activity, readers and subscribers more quickly. So it's a rate of increase, as opposed to the other tab, which is just like totals.
Great.
So because of all the buzz around getting people coming and checking out our talk with Ed, we were number one in Rising this week.
Nice.
Yeah, it was very cool.
And so, like, we're referring to the comic that we do. We don't do just this show. We also do a comic strip. Kind of started out with a comic strip and led to this show. And our comic strip, runs very similar to the kind of stuff we talk about in this show. Pointing out, like, some of the absurdities and, like, social commentary and politics of today. So you can find that just about anywhere except Facebook.
Yeah. We don't even bother.
So make sure you go check it out if you haven't. There's a backlog. How much of the backlog are we able to put all of it up, or do we even try?
Are you talking about for mean tweets or for the comic?
For the comic.
So Substack has an interesting thing where they do try to get more people to be paid than not paid. So they lock all previous articles up to like 3 weeks out. So it's nice. I mean, people should be paying their creators, and a lot of us do a ton of work for free.
That's right. I mean, this is a lot of work, and we want you to just get it either way you can. But if you can pay for it, I mean, it does help us out, and it does unlock extra freebies for you, and it's only $35 a year, right?
That's right.
So for $35 a year, you get you tell them what.
Yeah, if you pay the $35 a year subscription, or if you get past the free trial with $5 a month, then I will send you a chance pin.
Ooh.
And when we eventually do a book, which we hope will be soon, we'll be giving you a discount on that. And we also send out our paid subscriber comic, which is Pod Life. So whenever we have a new episode of that goes out to our paid subscribers.
Yep, and we do actual special programming, like we just mentioned. We've done a couple episodes with Ed McRae on the Disney company history, and specifically the man himself, Walt Disney. It's really fascinating material. We went and talked specifically about the movie Song of the South. It was really, really interesting. So already right there, you're at your $35 value.
Yeah, we're actually up to 7 episodes that are bonus episodes of the podcast now.
Yeah, you could find out how Taylor really feels about the Pope.
Yeah.
As if it took much guessing.
Not popes in general, just this particular one. And the last one.
All right. Well, enough about us. Let's talk about politics. Well, this weekend, Taylor, is a holiday. Remember?
Of course, I remember we're going on a trip.
It's Labor Day weekend, and we are trying to get away from all the labor that we do.
Yeah.
And apparently, now, we tried to ask Frank Smith for comment, but he was not available. Apparently, because he has 4 jobs.
I'm sorry he's tired.
But Marco Rubio really does have like 4 jobs.
How is it he's been so effective at them when we've had people that's their entire job and they just make things worse?
So anyway, we're grateful for all that Marco Rubio does, and that was just kind of a fun way to start. But happy Labor Day, everybody. Also in the news is John Bolton's house got raided. We've been seeing a lot of raids lately in the country.
I certainly heard a lot about this, that's for sure.
Yeah. So we have video of John Bolton talking about his own raid on his house. Clearly that was not him talking about his own raid, but you could kind of like just take out all the references to the raid on Mar-a-Lago that happened feels like forever ago now, and just add himself in there and it fits.
Well, almost, because they were never sure how to describe motive, and it did range from saying it was nefarious to just careless. But John Bolton was actually removing documents for clearly nefarious reasons. Yeah,
I was going to add, you should take all the references to French fries out and just replace with the word money, because that's probably the stuff that John Bolton was looking for.
He took it out so that he could leak it.
Well, actually, it's starting to sound worse than that. And that brings in this next video clip. Well, you're right, Mr. Bolton. It is a serious matter. It's getting more serious by the hour.
All right, I hadn't heard about that part.
I mean, it's all conjecture still, but these are from sources that would be in the know.
Yeah. Well, we know or we don't know that he's making money overseas. I mean, that's not really going to be something that's speculative.
Yeah.
Just the speculative part is where it's coming from.
Well, right. I mean, that starts to feel more like less like trying to leak stuff, and more like maybe selling state secrets.
Yeah, it is what it sounds like. Although we know for sure he did leak some of it.
Yeah. I saw today someone posted video of him walking the streets of Qatar back in like 2020, 2021.
Yeah.
And you're kind of like, why are you just walking the streets of Qatar? I mean, it's John Bolton. He looks like Mark Twain. He kind of stands out.
Yeah, it's hard to miss him for sure. I can't think of... There aren't a lot of good reasons to be in Qatar. Sorry, I'm going to say it right, Qatar.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of really surprising. I have to admit, I'd be really surprised if this turned out to be as bad as some people say. I mean, it's hard to imagine. I'm not some big, like... I love John Bolton and I wear him on my shirt, but I'm surprised. I'd be really surprised if he turned out to be a spy.
I don't know. I think that a lot of times these people surprise us by how much they're willing to just sell out the country.
You know, he's been in administrations basically both of our lifetimes.
Oh, there's a lot of opportunity there, isn't there?
Doesn't he go back to almost like, gosh, it seems like he goes back to like the first George Bush.
Could be.
I don't know. I know he doesn't go back as far as Reagan, I don't think.
No.
But he goes back a ways. Yeah. I mean, put it this way. The Bob Barr opened an investigation into Bolton in the first Trump administration. Mm-hmm. And when Joe Biden became president, he canned said investigation. That kind of tells you a lot. I'm
hearing a lot of those kind of stories.
Like, why would he? I mean, Bolton's a Republican. I mean, he's not like a Democrat, or he's not playing both sides of the fence. So why would Joe Biden reach out and like help a Republican?
That's a good question. It seems very suspicious.
Yep. Okay, talking about other suspicious people, I always think of Gavin Newsom as being pretty suspicious and just kind of wrong. So we have a video here. This is on. So to set this up, this is related to the whole gerrymandering thing. And, you know, Texas, we covered that in previous shows about the Democrats leaving the Texas State House to avoid redrawing of lines. And then Gavin Newsom jumping into the controversy, because there's never a controversy that Gavin Newsom doesn't want to jump into, and saying, well, if they succeed in this, then I'm going to redraw California lines tit for tat, so we have every one of those seats back just through our state instead of Texas.
Right.
We have some news coming out of California. It seems like the rules of democracy appear to just be changing overnight. The state Supreme Court, which is packed with Democrats, has just given the green light to a controversial redistricting plan rushed through by crybaby California Governor Gavin Newsom and those deranged state Democrats. Now, this move effectively short-circuits a 30-day public review period that is guaranteed by the California Constitution, which is silencing the voice of the people in the state. And this isn't the first time that the court has come in and intervened in this way that raises many alarms. We can see that this is the same body that stripped the Taxpayer Protection Act from the ballot, initiative backed by 1.4 million citizen signatures. It feels more like a pattern where the will of the people is being legally sidelined to protect political interests. Now, the Democrats are calling this transparency with the whole redistricting, but the process has actually been more in secrecy. They refuse to answer the most basic question on who drew the maps, and reports are suggesting this wasn't the independent commission created by the voters, but a political operative with the Democratic Congressional Campaign Committee. These maps were altered in secret, with allegations that one district was custom drawn to secure a powerful politician's vote. So what happens next? Well, the California Republicans aren't letting this go. They're planning more legal challenges and are even calling for a federal criminal investigation. Assemblyman Carl DeMaio is also fighting back with a new citizens initiative he calls a poison pill. It's a pretty interesting idea when you think about it. He's basically going after these politicians, saying any politician who votes to get rid of the independent commission would be banned from running for office for 10 years. So it's a clear battle right now. The line is being drawn over who has the final say, the politicians or the people.
So I feel like a big difference here, and I'm not really a big fan of gerrymandering from either side. I do think it's kind of just like gamesmanship. But, I mean, what Texas was doing was far more legal, it seemed, than what California is attempting.
It was. I remember when this original threat was made, I saw quite a few people writing in saying, oh, well, you know, Gavin Newsom faces a whole bunch of really serious kind of constitutional obstacles before he can make that happen. And I was thinking instantly, like, that won't matter. He'll get what he wants.
He might, but...
He did.
Yeah, well, it hasn't fully gone through yet.
It will.
It might. It probably will, if that fits better. But the other thing, the side of the coin to it, is Ron DeSantis of Florida has come out and saying, "Oh, we're absolutely redrawing ours," after he gets done. And there's only even Newsom isn't going to say, like, "Oh, well, we're going to redraw ours again."
No,
after that. So,
he won't be able to do that.
So, I think there's going to be a checkmate coming.
Yeah.
But, someone else had pointed out, and I thought this was an interesting point, that geographically speaking, there's just so much more real estate that Republicans have to work with nationally than Democrats do. So Democrats really don't have that much of an upper advantage on this kind of a thing. It's just kind of like a lot of threat and bluster. But if Republicans are willing to fight, tit for tat, they can outlast this game.
Yeah, thank goodness we have a couple of states at least that are willing to play.
Yeah, I'd be happy to see Iowa just, basically slice itself up for like 30 more seats. I don't know. Well, I don't know the logistics of like how much of all that you can do, but it does kind of seem like you can do willy-nilly whatever you want. It really does.
It really does.
Kind of. So, yeah, we'll see. We'll see how that keeps going. That's going to be something that just goes and goes and goes. That's not going to be fixed in a month. So we'll see. But I'm telling you right now, people, Ron DeSantis actually absolutely means this.
Sure.
And this also relates to very much so to the census that Trump wants to redo. I don't know if he's going to get to pull that off, but golly, if he does, that would be huge, because everyone just kind of assesses and draws up the charts to show realistically what kind of losses and gains there should be. And the losses are pretty much all on the blue side, and the gains are all on the red side because of COVID flight.
I want so badly, though, to be able to have a real census that only checks for American citizens, because our voting map should not be based on foreign nationals.
Right, and that's something that Trump has said. Now, unfortunately, I think there is written precedent that they want to be like counting everybody in the sense of like all people who are living and settled. Now,
okay, but that's not how it should be.
I kind of agree, but apparently that's the way it's been for quite a long time. That would make it harder to break up. Now, however, settled doesn't necessarily mean I just arrived in the country and I'm roaming, which is what a lot of these people that Biden let in are doing. It's like people that have been here for 10 years, have a house somehow, and have a job, and are extremely grounded.
Yeah, and some of these are just people that came in the last couple years, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I still don't, I'm not crazy about it. I'm with you. I don't really get that. I think that's an antiquated notion that dates back, 150 years ago, when the country was just kind of starting to grow, and immigration was really heavy.
Before the world had borders, right?
Yeah, well, the world always had borders.
Yeah, but they didn't have like visa borders. The whole visa system came about more like during the 1940s. Because
of the war?
Yeah.
Well, regardless, the reality of today is the reality of today. I still think it wasn't that easy just to go around border to border. You still had to declare stuff and have a passport. But
yes.
So moving on from that, we also had a news item this week related to the flag. And, you and I haven't even really talked about this particular issue, so it could be interesting to get your opinion. So, what do you think about this, Taylor?
I don't agree.
And to be clear, there's been a lot of both sides of people not agreeing. So this is not something where this falls on party lines, not at all. Do you want to expound on what you don't agree about? Something specific?
One thing I think the claim that everyone instantly riots when somebody burns a flag is kind of weird. I don't think there's evidence for that. If there was, I'd really like to see that data.
I don't know about data. I do know that what you see with video, like people love to post video clips that shows that how people will get riled up if you just light the American flag on. It seems like if you light any flag on fire and they get just instantly a little riled up.
Well, maybe.
I mean, I see that time and again. But I kind of agree with you. I think that this is problematic just on the nature of like the rights that we have based on the Constitution. I think that it's problematic to try to single this one issue out. Yeah. There's a lot of factors to it of like what would make it acceptable or not acceptable. Let's go ahead and hear. I don't really get a lot of opportunity to pull clips from the great Antonin Scalia. So let's hear what he had to say about this. Of course, this is back in the days, long past now.
I think I usually find myself on the same side of Justice Scalia pretty much on everything. So
it's not a bad person to be on the side of. He was one smart cookie. This country misses him every day.
Every day.
That was from an interview in 2012. We have this tweet as well. Pop this up. Let me get my cheat sheet so I can read it. That text is small. All right, here we go. It does not make the mere act of burning a U.S. flag illegal. That is still constitutionally protected speech. What it does make illegal is this: burning a U.S. flag in a manner that is likely to incite imminent lawless action, or that is an action amounting to, quote-unquote, fighting words. So if you want to go burn your own flag in your own backyard, have at it. But if you want to burn that flag amidst a violent Death to America rally paid for by George Soros, that's something altogether different. Now, I am not opining on whether even that narrow interpretation will survive constitutional scrutiny, but know this. This is an interesting ending point. The more of these sorts of executive orders that Trump signs, the more legal resources the Democrats must expend to challenge him. Resources that could probably be better deployed for their own gains on issues essential to the Trump agenda. It's true. Sometimes it feels like Trump throws red herrings out there and carrots just so people, or dog whistles for people to chase.
I don't know if that's really a good reason to do it. It's just it's basically a form of lawfare, is to tie people up with frivolous lawsuits.
I think that, but also to that point, people have said this has been something that he has felt strongly about going for quite a long time. This is not new. I am not
surprised that this issue came up with him at all, because he's always said this. But I also know that I don't think Donald Trump always acts like a full conservative, and he's not. He's obviously not a free speech absolutist. I'm far more on the side of free speech. I mean, even if it is a George Soros rally paid for, I think that's more of a question of like paid for protesting that we should be talking about.
I think that's kind of essentially it. It's more so like the concern of where this would lead as opposed to this particular thing. Like being afraid that this just opens the door to more tyrannical oppression of the people like they're getting today in the UK.
Yeah, to just any kind of protest, or who knows what you're going to define as a problem during a protest. Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think it's a good precedent.
Yeah, I have said many times that if there's a downside to President Trump, and I think he's done a lot of good things, but if there's a downside, he doesn't really think in terms of like, okay, how could this be bad 20 years down the road? He's like, I'm not going to be around. I'm interested in today.
He can be a bit more of a short-term thinker.
Yeah, and that's not ideal. as a president. You really don't want to be a short-term thinker. That creates problems. That can create really immediate joy and a lot of down-the-road headaches.
That's true.
Also interesting, worth pointing out, the correct, appropriate legal way to dispose of a flag. Do you know what that is, Taylor?
I think you are supposed to fold it up and burn it, I thought.
That is correct.
So, yeah. That's why they mean it's not illegal to burn it in your backyard.
Yes. But that's why also people come and go like, yeah, this is going to create a huge gray area, because then it ends up being to interpretation of what people will say, and then it ends up being a court case down like, well, you looked angry to me.
Yeah, and then again, I don't know how much it's your responsibility on whether or not a riot happens. Inside a riot can be interpreted in a really wide way, and it puts the onus on you about other people's behavior.
Mm-hmm. Now, there's also been other issues that have happened, and I equally am outraged about this, that there seems to be different terms of acceptance when it comes to flags. So with the American flag, it's like, well, the First Amendment gives you willy-nilly rights to do whatever you want. But we've seen people that have done things like burn the gay flag, the LGBTQ rainbow flag, and actually get prison terms.
Yeah, charged with a hate crime. And it's also a good example of the roadways where they've done street crossings in the rainbow colors, and two kids were charged with felonies for just making marks on it with their skateboard on the road.
Yes. Yes, that happened in Miami. It was absolutely insane.
Yeah, so there's certainly a lot of inequality when it comes to hate crime protections.
Have you seen what has been going, just seeing as you brought it up, the thing with DeSantis and those crossings? Have you been following that this week?
This particular week, no.
Okay, so Ron DeSantis is trying to clamp down on this, and he wants them gone. He wants to clear them out of the state of Florida, the entire state. The interesting one is that he's also focusing on taking out the one that's in front of the site of the old Pulse nightclub. Now, the Pulse nightclub, for anyone who's forgotten, was the site of that terrorist attack. It was a gay club, and it was a really bad massacre. This has happened. This is probably close to 8 years ago now.
Yeah.
They have a crosswalk in front of there, and he has taken it out, and they have come back, meaning the opposition to Ron DeSantis, and they've colored it back in chalk. And he's come back out and covered it, and this has happened this week alone 3 times, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. This last time he's done it, sent road crews out. He brought the police out to patrol and to stand guard over it. Now, I really
government property. Look, guys.
Yeah, which is nuts, because it was a state senator or a state representative that that had come out saying he is defacing state property.
Yeah, state property.
And I'm like, no, sir. When you turn around with your chalk and start coloring on the road, you're defacing state property. You're not. He's more in charge than you.
Yeah, exactly.
However, I do kind of feel like this is one of those where I'd be like, it's the Pulse nightclub. That was a really nasty massacre. I think I'd let them have this crosswalk.
I don't know. It's government property, and I think
I'm not saying he's not wrong.
It adds government endorsement to the idea, and it also just kind of reinforces. That's not what the Pulse massacre was about. Technically a gay club, but that's not why they died.
I know, but I mean, I that's not the hill I want to die on in front of that nightclub. Tampa has come out saying, okay, we're going to take everything, we're going to clear all the roadways, including we support the police crosswalks and stuff. And I'm like, fine.
Yeah, okay.
That's fine. That's kind of the point. It's like, we want to we want the roads to stop being graffitied.
Let's just make the roads.
I mean, if we're gonna,
that's fine with me.
Yeah, if we're gonna just do this, can we have some crosswalks that are like the blood of Christ or something? I mean,
let's just let the roads be roads.
Maybe some comic strips. I don't know.
Yeah, we could go paint that mural.
Call
us Tampa.
Okay, Taylor, so the big topic this week, of course, was Cracker Barrel.
Cracker Barrel.
Old Uncle Herschel himself.
Yeah.
I really didn't think this was going to turn into such a big deal as it did. I was kind of surprised, and I kind of just held on for the ride and just to watch and see it. I mean, I love Cracker Barrel just as much as the next
there's a couple things that triggered it this week. Was the announcement of the logo followed by the sudden drop in stock price.
Yeah.
And those two things got a lot of people's attention.
But it was really interesting because the things like the refabs of the restaurants has been going on for a while. This is not
it
new.
has.
I mean, what's new is when they rolled out the new logo. And then people are going like, yeah, the refabs are really bad. Like all of a sudden they just showed up, and that's not true, folks. They've been around for 8 months now.
What happened, I think, with that was just that the stock price plummet alerted that to people that were not already customers.
Right. So we had we have this comment from Steak and Shake that kind of like put salt into the wounds.
This was nuts. Woo! I couldn't believe just watching brands fight it out. It's just so bizarre.
Sometimes people want to change things just to put their own personality on things. At Cracker Barrel, their goal is to just delete the personality altogether. Hence, the elimination of the old-timer from the signage. Heritage is what got Cracker Barrel this far, and now the CEO wants to just scrape it all away. At Steak and Shake, we take pride in our history, our families, and American values. All are welcome. We will never market ourselves away from our past in a cheap effort to gain the approval of trend seekers. By the way, our fries are made with beef tallow now.
Yeah.
I added that last bit, but
no, it's true. Actually, they mentioned their beef tallow in one of their posts about this. It's not like this is the first time I've seen brands duke it out. Obviously, everybody remembers the McDonald's Burger King wars that used to happen back in the 80s. But back then, you kind of had to create a campaign and film a bunch of commercials, and things would be a little bit slow about addressing each other if they went on the attack. But now you can do it instantly, and sometimes it's like not even the brands you would expect to hear from. I just wouldn't have thought of Steak and Shake as being a big Cracker Barrel competitor, but apparently they felt like they were.
Okay, so I actually have an answer to this.
Okay.
And I wish I had I don't know why I don't have my phone on me, but I always do, and all of a sudden I don't. But I saw an article on this. So there's one of the top people on Cracker Barrel's board, and if I had my phone I could give you his name.
It's okay.
He's been aggressively pushing back on everything that Cracker Barrel has been saying they're going to do going back 10 years, 10 plus years.
Okay, so there's a history here.
And he came out initially with like a 120-page report in response to what their plans were. Explains like, this is a bad idea.
Wow.
Your identity is not this.
Ooh.
Your identity is that you're old to start with.
Yeah, that's true.
Stop trying to find a way to not be old when your whole identity is we're old. And values.
Yeah.
And they, their response was just to kind of ignore him. And then he came back with another report a couple of years later reiterating this, and just kind of keep reiterating and saying, it's like, you do this at your own peril. It will hurt you. And he even tried to do a mini coup on the board, so I understand, and try to get a couple of people kicked off. It was unsuccessful.
Wow. Okay, so he really cared about this.
He seemed to really care about this, and he's known in the industry as a little bit of, well, they call it as like kind of like a bully investor. He was on the board, but sounds like he had some right ideas. So the connection to Steak and Shake is he's also a major investor in Steak and Shake.
Okay. Well, he just doesn't like seeing something he's put a lot of money into lose money. We kind of need those people.
Yeah.
That's always been the thing in a capitalistic society that used to keep us in check.
And so you end up with a situation where you have this. This is a picture of the current CEO, by the way. And Cracker Barrel CEO Julie Fels Messino's decision to decolonize the company, starting by removing the old-fashioned country gentleman, meant to evoke nostalgia, and Americana from the logo is hammering the stop, wiping out $250 million in value.
Ugh.
Since Phelps became CEO, the stock is down 34%, erasing $587 million in value since she became CEO.
It's impressive.
It's impressive that you can have that much money to lose.
Yeah.
They were, back in like 2010, they were on top of the world. I mean, they were doing so well. I don't have those numbers in front of me, but they were raking in billions because they were just that successful all over the place.
Did we include that video of the New York pop-up?
No.
Well, I just want to address it. It's like that they're so out of touch and proud of themselves and want to celebrate everything that they think is it just shows you the world that they live in, that they did a big celebration of this rebrand as a pop-up in New York City where there's no Cracker Barrels within any distance.
Yeah. But that's kind of the point. I mean, so like conservatives bring up and say, well, see, this isn't about you even being concerned about the bottom line or whether you're actually doing this to make money. It looks suspicious that what you really just kind of wanted to do all along was just make Cracker Barrel go out of business, like Toys R Us went out of business.
It sure does.
And, we'd see, when you look at like the attitude of that one other board member who is really unhappy, there's a lot of people that does have, real stuff in the game, and they can't really just afford to just let it all go in the name of like principle. I mean, it's absurd to even think that anyone would think that that's acceptable. I wanted to show this because...
Yeah, absurd unless your name is BlackRock.
Right. So I've circled it down there. Top institutional holders of their stock, and it includes BlackRock and Vanguard. And BlackRock's one of the, I think, is the biggest holder. And, well, Taylor, why don't you just explain to the world just how bad of an actor BlackRock is?
Well, the head of BlackRock is now the head of the World Economic Forum, so that should give you a little bit of an idea about what a rotten company this is. But they're very heavy into the 2030 agenda with the UN, and they've been taking it into action with, in particular, buying up a lot of private homes across the United States so that they can just rent them out to bring us closer to that idea of no one owns anything. No, but in that world, BlackRock owns everything, and you don't own anything.
Is BlackRock doing that because they just want to own everything and have as much money as Scrooge McDuck? Or?
Yeah, that's why. It's a power thing. Power and money.
Okay. It's scary because they really are probably bigger than what most people could really do anything about outside of maybe like a President Trump kind of thing. I mean, you'd have to have... I mean, honestly, if I was the White House, I'd be investigating BlackRock.
Yeah.
Because I'm pretty sure a company that size and the kind of stuff that they're dealing in, there's got to be shady stuff that they can catch them on. It's got to be, right?
Well, yeah, if they're really serious about being against that agenda.
Yeah, and there'd be doubt from me if Trump would really be that serious about that. I mean, he still is very much of like, he's a capitalist guy like these guys. And I want to be a capitalist guy. I'm not anti-capitalist, but I'm also like really kind of concerned about monopolies and stuff too that are just out to like really hurt the little guy.
Yeah, capitalism's probably not the best way to describe it. I mean, it's they like to call it stakeholder capitalism, but it's really only where the only profit benefit that happens is the people at the very top. And they count things as stakeholders that you wouldn't think of it that way. And that's why ESG has become such a big deal in that world, is the idea like we're going to add monetary value to things that don't have monetary value, like DEI initiatives. Or how many queer social posts you put up in a year.
But the firings of the gay community in the Cracker Barrel seem to happen, I guess, like 11, 12 years ago. And at that point, that's when Cracker Barrel really started shifting over with different executives in charge, and they started working more closely with the Human Rights Commission. And they just started really changing things over in the company. And so quietly for 10 years, they were really focused on DEI initiatives and hiring practices, just like everyone else was. They just weren't talking about it a lot publicly.
Yeah, because they know how that would go over.
Yeah, to the point of where, they've created a whole line of their rocking chairs in like rainbow colors, and they have them like displayed at their company headquarters. And Robbie Starbuck was able to actually get some like behind the scenes photos of like some working desks inside the headquarters, and you could see like the inclusivity and the pronoun stuff that was present in the different employees' quarters and inside the company. And it's just, that's really not what Cracker Barrel is about, It's just kind of like saying you'd like go to Focus on the Family or some other like Christian organization and see that kind of thing. It'd be really jarring to see that.
Yeah, I knew something was up and weird when they went really gung-ho on the COVID restrictions.
Yeah. And so that's just been a really big push that they've had as far as like for company functions and like outreach of like hiring practices and offering like being inclusive and exclusive to certain types of people that they would hire. And it just led ultimately to this CEO coming on board, and then to this whole notion of just changing everything around to just kind of like, for some reason, modernizing everything. For instance, I don't know how many people remember, but like they have that pegboard game, right?
Yeah.
Like every table would have a pegboard game. Those were really fun, and it was just about hopping pegs, and and so they've replaced the pegboard game with a new version of the pegboard. The old pegboard game would have like writing on it to explain. It's like, well, if you were able to like leave one peg, then you're a genius, and if you leave two pegs, you're pretty darn smart. If you leave like 4 or 5 more pegs, you're an ignoramus. They've changed all that now in the new pegboard. I've seen it where they show it and they say, instead of ignoramus, they say, well, you almost got it. Why don't you try again? And it's
affirmations.
Yeah, and it just comes out like there's no character there. It's so clean, it's so sterile that there's nothing fun about it anymore.
Yeah, we can't have anybody feeling bullied by a pegboard.
I saw someone post something on Instagram related to the pegboard that was funny. They said that they'd taken out all the white pegs and put in only brightly colored pegs.
Yeah.
And mostly brightly colored pegs. They left in a few white pegs, and the new rule said the white pegs can't jump anybody, but the brightly colored pegs can do whatever the hell they want.
Oh, so true. So true.
So this, this just like this just brings up, I think, to this point, because I think this is a bigger issue than just Cracker Barrel. And this is one of the things. Oh, and we should point out, as right before we recorded this show, they came out and they said that they're going to resort back to the old Uncle Herschel logo. They say that they've heard everybody, and that they want to do right, and they're going to bring the old logo back.
Okay, but I told people on Twitter, I'm not jumping back on board until bacon is back in the beans.
But that's the point. This never was about the logo. It's just kind of, everyone used the logo as the catalyst to get mad, but this really isn't about the logo, and you can see it there. The new logo's on the right side, the old logo's up in the top left. I mean, just changing the logo back doesn't mean you change the concept of how your approach to what this restaurant's about, and how this is about old-timey American values. It's a conservative restaurant. It's just what it is. And
it's supposed to be. It hasn't been for a while, and we just kind of, like, it was a very boil the frog kind of changeover, but I had it just abruptly when they became like a Joanna Gaines shiplap restaurant. When we went to one of those, the food was noticeably different.
Yeah, in fact, so for our story, we went to one, and what the thing that you always loved getting at a Cracker Barrel were the green beans. Like, I've seen you
we're
go.
actual customers. That's why this is like personal to us.
Yeah, I've seen you actually go in and just order just nothing but like 5 helpings of green beans. Just like just ladle it out in a bowl.
Yeah.
And that's your whole dinner.
Yeah.
And so the last time we went, you did that, and it came out, and you just kind of looked at it like someone had just like.
Yes, I did.
I don't know. It's just like
I could tell right away.
Like someone had just put a nail through your leg or something.
Yeah.
You just looked at it with this look on your face of horror.
I guess it was like that.
Smell it. And what? It came out and it was just canned, right?
Yeah, it was just canned green beans.
Without like any added
no seasoning,
spice?
no bacon, no slow cooking, no French cut or strings. It's just right out of a can.
And we rarely do this, but we took the unusual step for us of complaining. You know, and not
I don't complain.
Yeah.
I eat a lot of stuff that I'm just not that crazy about, and
when
I send it back.
Yeah, and when I say complain, we didn't throw it across the room or anything.
No.
We just, politely says, we don't really like this. Is there anything we can do? Can we get something
I need
else?
something else.
And we asked about it. I asked a
Yeah.
couple of people. I was like, so what? Tell me about the beans. Did they change? And they're like, no.
Well, no, that's not what he said. You said, is the beans change? And he says, why? You don't like them?
Well, but
he's like, okay, so that means he's heard this before.
Yeah, but I also asked other people when you
Yeah.
went around the same question, and they kind of looked at me like,
They don't
no. Like,
yeah, they did. They absolutely. I looked it up, and yes, online, if you do a little bit of research, it doesn't take much. You'll find that yes, people have been actively complaining.
That's the crazy thing, because like you did a grok.
I just did a Google search, and Google AI told me a whole analysis on it. It's mostly Reddit, I think, where a lot of the complaints are coming from, and Yelp.
But it goes hat in hand. I mean, when you're looking at just like trying to cut costs and like trim portion size, the other thing is that they've always just brought biscuits out. They really have good biscuits, and then all of a sudden they don't bring biscuits out. You kind of have to just kind of force the issue.
It waits for the meal now.
And it's not something you can just enjoy while you're waiting, which has always been the case. And those things might seem like small things, but they're not small things. They're part of your identity. And certainly not having just lousy vegetables
if
shouldn't
the
be
food's
anybody's
lousy,
identity.
I'm not coming back. That's the whole point, was that the food was good enough for a good price, and now it's not.
So I have this tweet up right here because I do think that this is just like a catalyst for a bigger problem. And what this is, for anyone who's not watching the show and just listening, is we have a slide here that shows 4 popular food franchises. You could call them fast food, I guess. Cracker Barrel's not fast food, but it shows like old styles of these restaurants, and then the new imagined versions. And so at the top, of course, you have McDonald's with the Playland. And then to the right, you just have like a box McDonald's. All you have is the golden arches, but you don't have that sloped roof. And then underneath, you have the classic red Pizza Hut roof. And then next to that, the newly imagined Pizza Hut that just looks like any kind of like pizza joint, whether it's a Domino's or a Little Caesars. They all look the same now. And then Cracker Barrel and what they did with the logo, and then Taco Bell doing the same thing, where you had the kind of the classic looking gabled terracotta Taco Bell roof, and then now a Taco Bell that just looks like it could be a gas station or a 7-Eleven. And you look at all those reimagined ones in that column, and they all almost are a rather identical architecture with just a slapped on different color scheme.
Yeah.
It's the same building.
It's been happening in hospitality and hotels as well.
And I guess the question is why? Why are we doing this?
I have an opinion.
Okay.
And here, this is what, my personal belief system is that there is a spiritual influence going on here. and that it's been going on, it's ramped up since the 1960s, and that the overall idea is oneness. And it's you'll see it in things that the UN promotes. You'll see it in things that interfaith promotes. It's interfaith. It's a new age. It's a new world order. Or like when you go to Epcot and they sing that song, "We Are One." I mean, the idea is to same and kind of like blend and just create this like single consciousness.
But why?
Because the powers that get that the spiritual undercurrent that pushes for this gets power out of one consciousness.
But you're going to hurt your bottom line. Your sales are going to suffer.
Yeah, but as you've seen with the climate change agenda, there's a lot that they're willing to do because it's not rational. It's being pushed by something else. A different kind of spiritual push is going on.
It's crazy. It really is, because the United States used to be indicative of really interesting individuality, commercial architecture. We used to have, remember Holiday Inn used to have the giant neon sign for Holiday Inn, and now it's just like a basic square. Arby's used to be the giant cowboy hat, and they've done away with that.
Individuality is a threat to the concept of oneness and interfaith.
I saw an Instagram post where somebody had posted, it was Long John Silver's. It was a company post. They posted a picture, and they're talking about, it was like an anniversary for them. So they had posted the original Long John Silver's that looked like, a tavern right out of somewhere like Boston, like an old style pirate tavern, hence Long John Silver's.
Yeah.
And then right next to it, they showed a new one, and it looked like one of these places.
Right.
It just looked like the Taco Bell,
Oneness.
The new Taco Bell. And I went to the comment section, and it was just wall to wall. People go like, "I miss the old one. Mm-hmm. I miss the old style. I miss it. I miss it. Why is it like this?"
You'll see it in Disney hotels. Like the person that they put in charge is a woman again of the hospitality side of the business, has been wanting and modernizing the hotel rooms, so they lose all that character that is made theming so unique in the different hotels.
Well, they do change for instance, the Contemporary. They've been changing that over, but it has theming, but it's like what's the word, like when you're theming on the IP theming, so it's themed on Incredibles. It's rather than like an Identity where you have they have the Polynesian hotel, so it would be Polynesian themed,
right?
Something like that.
Yeah,
So I mean, I agree with you.
As opposed to like modern with Moana stamped on your pillow like that.
Yeah.
That kind of theming.
Yeah. I'd really like to point out, specifically Pizza Hut on this list, because an interesting thing with Pizza Hut that I've learned is that there have started to be a couple of individual Pizza Huts around the country. When I say a couple, it is probably maybe 35, 40. So there's more than a couple, but when you're talking about coast to coast, not that many. And they're called Classic Pizza Hut Classic, and it's the actual original building. And it's more than just the original building. If you go inside, it's all the original fixtures. Everything has to be original, and right down to the lampshades that are in glass that say Pizza Hut on them, or the checkered tablecloth. Pizza Hut, it's strange because the corporation it kind of half acknowledges these and half doesn't. So they approve of it, certain people doing it, if their franchises meet the distinction of the building being intact. And in as much as they'll actually even give them a plaque saying this location is honored as a replica of an original Pizza Hut. But if you go to the corporate website, they don't actually put a page together so you can find these. It's up to random Joes out on the internet to go hunt them down and create their own list so you can find them.
Yeah.
That's a mind-boggling to me that on the one hand you're going to go to the expense of creating plaques for these people, but then on the other hand go like, I don't know what you're talking about.
I think the effort people put in to try to find these in spite of corporate office really shows that we recognize somehow how much we've lost.
Yeah, we're starting to get suspicious, and we're starting to want to fight back on it.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Enough of that. We have a couple of individual things here. You know, we haven't done enough that's just kind of disturbing in this episode. So let's hit some disturbing things. This is like a video clip about Muslim women wearing burqas and things like that. And this is like a short interview, interviewing a woman and just asking her just simple questions about like, why do this? Why put yourself through this?
I cover my face out of my own choice. I choose to cover it, and partly because I'm a Muslim, and being a Muslim, our Creator in the Quran does say to cover yourselves in a modest way, and I feel, I believe, covering your face is part of dressing modestly to avoid attraction when you go out.
So, the danger is I might be attracted to you.
Absolutely, absolutely. The reason there are so many scholars who do feel that the hands and the face do not need to be covered, but there are also scholars who say yes, that it should be covered, and I feel it should be covered because the most attractive part of anybody is the face.
So is there a danger that males in the audience are attracted to every female in this studio's face who's here? Are they putting themselves in some kind of...
Not necessarily every female face, but yeah, it could stir something.
Passions?
Yes. Absolutely.
Why would it not stir passions in a woman to see a man's face?
Well, it's about the burqa, isn't it, and about the woman wearing a veil. Yeah. And it's about why women are wearing a veil.
Yes, but I'm interested, if it's about equality, and you feel a sense of liberation, don't you? Why should men not be required to cover their faces too?
It's a good point, but I wouldn't question that. If this is how I understand that the scholars have said, then I would do.
And it's God's will?
It's God's will. And if you out of your free will choose to be a Muslim, then that's part and parcel of it.
And you're closer to the Prophet, you feel?
Absolutely, yeah.
It just occurred to me that was a British show.
Yeah. Oh, you
because
didn't realize?
I did not realize that, but that makes sense because there's just such a massive increase in Muslim population in the UK now that they might as well just do whole shows on this.
That also appears to be a British woman who converted.
That's interesting.
So, well, the reason why I sent you this video is because what I found interesting about it was you can see very clearly on her face that these are the first time she's ever been presented with these ideas or thought about them.
Well, yeah, I mean, the questions are highly logical and reasonable. And there's just no answers to it because it really just comes down to we demand women behave this way because they're lesser.
Yeah, it really does. And somehow she's just managed to get into this religion and have not really put any thought into the rationale behind what she's doing. It's just as long as the Quran says so, then it's fine. It's also interesting that she throws in there that it's your free will to become a Muslim because the Muslim faith does not believe that should be a choice of free will. I mean, it's very clear in the Quran that you are encouraged to force people to choose to become a Muslim or die. So that's hardly what I like. We had that argument about what's coercion versus forcing. It seems like that's some pretty severe coercion you're talking about there.
I agree. I mean, it sounds like the way it would work is like they would approach somebody and they would offer it and suggest it on free will basis. Mm-hmm. But if you don't take the hint.
Yeah. Well, I've actually seen it in action in Syria in the last couple of weeks of to the Druze in videos that the Syrian radical jihadist government has been recording.
You got to tell people what the Druze are. That's
it's kind of an offshoot of they call it an offshoot of the Muslim faith, and to me, like when I read about it, it sounds a lot more like a classic Egyptian paganism. But they're people who are very close to the Israelis, and like a lot of them live in Israel, and they live close to Israel on the other side in Syria. They do not care for the new jihadi government. The jihadi government doesn't like them either because they're not classic Muslim, and they've been killing them off, and occasionally filming videos where they try to make them forced to become a Muslim or die. There's another video that floats around of a bunch of girls. I'm not sure what their original religion is, but they're in a cage, and their option is to either become Muslim sex slaves or to die, and they choose to be burned alive.
And this is in Syria?
No, that's in a different country. This is pretty consistently awful, whatever country it's happening in. And I'm telling you that it's a tenet of the religion.
Well, that's really why I just wanted people to see that the double standard there, when broached and asked about, is just met with kind of like a blank stare and just kind of like, I don't know.
Yeah, the Gnostic faith that she belongs to does not encourage thinking for yourself, and you can see that all over her face.
Yeah.
Even though most of it's covered.
Well, that's the other thing. I mean, it's really just laughable, this notion about,
well, you can
modesty, because you don't want to stand out and be a distraction. I'm like, lady, you are a distraction. You're covered in head to toe in a curtain. There's no way you're missed.
Yeah, it is like all that black material. It is very distracting.
Yeah.
Weird how it works that way, but it is.
It's also, it's distracting, but for a lot of people, that's basically the equivalent of just being masked. So that means that it gives you like complete autonomy to do things and have cover. If you know what I'm saying,
like anonymous in that way, I guess is what they're really liking about it.
So, I'm not saying that would lead to necessarily crime, but that's an option. You could commit a crime while you're that much covered and no one knows who you are.
There was a case in England that happened just this last week where like they caught what they thought was a woman shoplifting in a burqa who turned out to be a dude.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
And it seems like that would be pretty sacrilegious to their faith if you're just kind of gaming the system of what the Muslim faith is teaching you just so you can like steal sneakers.
You would think that, but really that religion lets the men do whatever they want.
Yeah. All right. Well, from one ugly to just outright stupid.
He's so angry. I just can't. I can't.
It's so unbelievable. It's almost stupid, and to the point where it's like, oh come on, this is made up. This is AI.
It's not stupid. It's the agenda.
It's just unbelievable. I mean, at what point are we just going to get to the point where they're just like, you know what? You really don't need that other arm. Let's just get rid of it. It's kind of in the way.
Yeah. This is the essence of what the idea of the digital currency system is about, and the new surveillance state is that if they decide that they would really like that rune to be going to a migrant of their choice, then they're going to use the financial system to punish you into compliance.
I'm surprised, if not that they're just going to take migrants and just make them and say, like, this person's living with you now. Yeah, and you're supporting them. They're part of your family now.
Yeah, actually, the United States fought a war over that.
Yeah, that's correct. The Revolutionary War. That there was a word for that, and I can't, for the life of me, think of what that was. It was like interning or something. But,
something like that, yeah.
But yeah, to be specific, I mean, back in the day when the British held court over all of us and over in the New World, they had it set up so that the redcoats could come in, and the Americans just had to accept British soldiers into their house in lieu of barracks, and take care of them. But they didn't even have a say in their own government, but they were housing the opposition government. So
that's right.
And that's how you ended up with the American Revolution.
And that wasn't even the lawless nutbags that they're talking about today. That was actually British citizens.
So, I mean, but this is pretty nuts. This is what I mean, it's crazy too, because like what they're saying is they're suggesting they're going to just take people out of their houses.
Yeah, that's what they're saying.
So it's like, I'm going to mandate that you have to take a smaller house because you don't have enough people to qualify for that size house.
Yeah, and look what is going to happen when they say downsize. By downsize means that we're going to move you into one of these not so well built high rises where we can control you in our population, similar to what they're doing where they're bulldozing rural villages in China and moving the elderly into those smart cities. It's the same kind of thing.
Yes, and you can find out all about that by
reading Pod Life.
Reading Pod Life and being a paid subscriber. It's one of the things that we've been doing is a whole series on with Pod Life talking about the Chinese social credit system and just absolutely how heinous that is.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is ridiculous. This is Australia, by the way. And Australia has not been a good actor for a long time now. They used to be pretty conservative, and our friends going back probably like to the George Bush days, George W. Bush, but my goodness, now they're a clown show.
They gave up their guns and they got infiltrated by the World Economic Forum.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
The UN basically took it over.
You give up your guns, and you're either just like being told where you can live, or you're an 8-year-old girl having to brandish a hatchet and a knife to just save your innocence.
And then get arrested for it.
All right. So that is some outright bad for you. That concludes our show today. A little bit shorter this time around. We are going to be off next week for Labor Day, and we wanted to get a show in this week before we left town, but a little bit shorter show. Taylor, you want to add anything?
Help us stay number one rising in comics by signing up for our Substack at basecomic.substack.com and getting emails. We got a new comic coming out tomorrow, and you'll be
on Cracker Barrel.
Yeah, it is. It is on Cracker Barrel, and you will be able to hear about new releases and things like when our podcast episodes are coming out.
All right. So we appreciate all the support. We're glad you're here to watch the show. We hope you enjoyed it, and hope you go and tell a friend to watch it too. And to end the show today, we spent so much time talking about Cracker Barrel and corporate America just kind of, getting into the things that we all enjoy and just, crapping it out and just making it just like awful and just mundane, and then trying to like politicize everything and just not letting people just live their lives. So I thought I'd end the show with a little ditty song. So I hope you enjoy this, and we will see you next week.